Why, hello there. I hope you're having a beautiful day. This is Geekmaster, who just remembered he positioned the camera over there so it could see his lovely keyboard. As he continues, looking into different ways he can refine his content. Which, ironically enough, is kind of what I want to talk about at the beginning of today. Hope you guys are having a good Tuesday so far in your week. You're staying sane. Now that you've left the terrifying lands of Monday behind. So I do want to say, all the streams I'm looking to do in the near future, at least until I change my mind again about my content, I want to start with some sort of discussion like this. I just find it very fetching. That's not really a good word. I find it very helpful. Maybe you could say like on brand. If anything really is on brand for me these days. Maybe it's like some sort of aspiration to make something, intellectual and highbrow. But when I came back from 2018, I wanted to figure out a way to focus on conversational topics as opposed to just more straight gameplay. Because when I was playing Dwarf Fortress, for example, part of the reason, honestly, why I really enjoyed streaming Dwarf Fortress, and still want to in the future, is because as a colony management game, it gives you a lot of opportunities to talk with you guys. There's a lot of pauses. Honestly, what I more so remember from the days of streaming Dwarf Fortress, which for those of you guys who don't know is an absolutely diabolical colony management game, mostly, are the conversations that I had with you guys. Like, I remember some stuff about the fortresses. I remember the all above ground castle fortress and the number of people that drowned and died. I remember the volcano fortress, which died. I remember, oh gosh, no, there was one community fortress that we took over. Community fortress being a fort, or a save file essentially, that people in this game's community in Dwarf Fortress pass back and forth between each other. And they play it after one is done, and it's usually, at least to the person who picks it up, an absolute mess of a disaster. Partially because it usually is, because it's like Twitch plays Pokemon. But it gets very confusing. But anyways, that's not what I want to talk about primarily, as much as I love Dwarf Fortress. I mainly want to talk about I love Dwarf Fortress because it gives me a chance to talk to you guys. Hey, Super Bacon. I love bacon. So what's Super Bacon like? Super Bacon kind of like the crispy but juicy bacon? Because I love that kind of bacon. Bacon with just the right amount of like browning to the edges, Like there's a little bit of crisp on the outside, but when you bite into it, it explodes with like fat and flavor and all sorts of unhealthy things in your mouth. That's my kind of bacon. I love that kind of bacon. It's also probably why I only have bacon, once in a blue moon. Because I can feel how bad it is for me. I hope you're having a good Tuesday, though. So, the main thing I was saying, though, was, apart from how delicious bacon is this is going to be a regular thing. I don't really know what it means. Oh, Super Bacon? That's a perfect segue into what we're going to be talking about. Thank you, Super Bacon, for giving me an awesome segue. Yeah, thanks, man. But before we get to that segue, that awesome segue you gave me, I want to make this chat at the beginning of the stream a regular thing. Partially because, especially for the music streams, I've been finding I can't really split my focus between practicing and performing for you guys or composing and chatting at the same time. When I really want to both eat my cake and hit somebody with it too, I want to do both, but I can't. So because I'm a weak meat sausage, we're going to take a lot of the usual chatting, sort of front-load it all into the stream. Also, frankly, because, kind of like we're talking about yesterday, with coming up with the strategy for your channel, for your content, without feeling like some sort of corporate goon asshole, I do want to stream and just chatting. But when I stream and just chatting, because then I'll switch over, I want to actually make it just chatting for people who want to find a stream that's about just chatting. Because I don't know how many of you guys sort of try to part the veil in Twitch for how the sausage is made, but just chatting is... Gosh, I forgot what the largest category. Oh yeah, no, my coffee's pretty hot. I am too. I also joked yesterday that I should totally just drag a hot tub into here and have, like, fuzzy man streams while I read, like, dialectics. Or, read, like, Plato's Republic. Probably get a lot of views. I mean, who doesn't want a fuzzy bear man? That's probably less the coffee and more the incense over there. Also, it's a habit of mine recently now. I start every stream with incense. I don't know why. It's just relaxing. Hot tub with Borat on. Oh, God, yes. Do like a side. Do like a watch party. Do a watch party with me in some sort of like outdoor like plastic kiddie pool while I'm watching Borat. Okay, that would be amazing. Okay, no, you know what? This will bite me in the ass someday, probably, because some asshole out there, one of you lovely people who are also an asshole, probably Kavach, will go out there and say, wait, Gig said this? Oh, it's gotta happen now. Like, maybe if I hit 1,000 followers, we do a watch party where I'm in a hot tub and we watch Borat together. I'll probably get banned from Twitch immediately and have to move to YouTube, but fuck it. Totally, we'll do that. We'll do that. Someone pin that somewhere so you can go ahead and hold it against me and fuck me over with it, please. But, so just chatting. Again, I forget what the most popular category on Twitch is, but just, oh God. Okay, no, that would definitely get me banned from Twitch. I'd have to find a Borat suit that fits me, though. My problem is my upper body is, like, you look at the size of my upper body right now, it looks like I'm maybe about, like, 6 feet tall. I'm actually only about, like, 5'7", 5'8". I'm kind of built like a dwarf. So, also built kind of like a triangle from the shoulders on down. I'm kind of like a shorter version of Kronk from Emperor's Groove, so finding shit that fits me well is a pain in the ass. So finding a well-fitting Borat suit that I'm not just going to be like bloop or bloop either side of would be really hard. My brain just went poof thinking about Borat suits. No. But just chatting, I think it's I know it's the second largest category on Twitch now. I forget what the first largest one, but I do want to do some time on there doing just chatting, partially because, frankly, it's much easier to have people be able to find you, because Twitch sucks at helping people discover streamers. It's really bad at it. But when I stop that, I want to go ahead and change categories. Anyways, the segue now, though. There's a segue you gave me ages and ages ago. So something I was thinking about, along with our discussion topic from yesterday, was content. Because we mentioned in passing yesterday, you look at a lot of people in the Twitch subreddit, for example. And like every other OP there says essentially, how can I get more viewers? Scrolled all the way down. We do discuss it a lot. I got diagnosed with... Oh, God help me. I was 25, I think? I'm 33 now, so about like 8 years ago. I got diagnosed with acute bipolar disorder. This was back in version 4 of the U.S. Psychology... Oh gosh, I forget the name of it. Essentially the book of symptoms and conditions that they use to go ahead and categorize different mental illnesses and contributing factors and symptoms of. But I got diagnosed with it because I don't think acute bipolar disorder exists as like the name of the condition anymore. But at the time, it was acute bipolar combined with anxiety, which was a very common, apparently, diagnosis back in the late tweens and early 2010s. Not medicated for it anymore. Partially thanks to a combination of cutting way back on caffeine. Now coffee is a delicate thing to be sipped, as well as lots and lots and lots of working out has actually helped a lot. Lifting heavy things is good for you. But yeah, we talk a lot about mental health. And also, again, around many people, I can understand that. So funny story. And again, if I don't get to talk much about the topic that I actually posted for the subject, it doesn't really matter. If I do want to talk about it, if it interests you guys, but I'd rather go ahead and talk with you guys. Again, that's the whole point of this first hour. Anxiety disorder, in groups I can understand a lot. So the second half of the stream is going to be piano today. It's going to be piano and composing. But I took a break for about 10 years from it, partially because of physical issues. But before that, I got classically trained as a pianist, as a violist. Violist is a violinist with a bigger, better instrument. You can tell that to your violinist friends and they'll kill you. Maybe. Vocal performance, other stuff. And one thing that I still really had issues with all the way up until when I ended was public performance. Because I feel differently. There's something about myself, like in terms of like mental switches getting flicked on and off, that feels differently feels different to me anyways, when I do public performance. And even worse is when I do public performance and then people give me compliments. Hold on, I need to turn on an instrument for funny noises. When people give me compliments, those rat bastards, how dare they give me compliments? Those terrible, terrible people. Cool. I really endorse pursuing your passions. I am also really happy to see that you're able to play guitar, because I actually have a really hard time with guitar because it's most guitars are tuned in fourths. I actually had someone recommend to me recently, Bashful Echo's dad actually recommend that I pick up mandolin, because mandolins are tuned in fifths, like violas are. Hey Kvatch, hey BitDragon, how you doing today? We're just chatting shit. Currently we're talking about anxiety. So, when people would compliment me early on, and even now to a degree, it's like, how dare they compliment me? Because after a performance, especially when I was younger, people would come forward and compliment me, and my teacher would come forward and compliment me. People in the audience, parents of other students I know would come forward and compliment and say, oh, that was very nice. My anxiety was worse when people would do that versus when I was actually doing the performance. Like when I was doing the performance in front of, like you said, Super Bakun, a bunch of people, it would be, nerve-wracking, and I would feel very different. But it wouldn't be, an immediate problem necessarily that I had to tackle with. But when they would compliment me, I would want to shrink up and shrivel and crawl into my hole or melt through the floor. And I thought a lot about it, why I would have that reaction. And bless the hell out of them, I think it was mainly my parents. So, how some people have resting bitch face? They don't necessarily mean it, but you look at their face like, oh god, that fucking lady in the line is gonna shank me if I, try to get into line before her. Oh god, I'm going to die. Some people have resting bitch face. My parents, specifically, I'm sorry mom if you ever see this, my mom, has resting, oh goody good son face, however you want to describe that. Resting, when she says something nice about me or compliments me, it always somehow comes off a bit, and this might be entirely my own perception, because anxiety really fucks with your perception of outside things. she would say like, "Oh, that was so nice." Like, the same way a soccer mom would tell their kid how nice it was. They just happened to be standing there when the soccer ball like nailed them in the gut, but they blocked the field goal. You have resting judgment face. I mean, that's not news, Kvatch. That's old hat. That's boring. You're boring me, Kvatch. Hi, by the way. Love you. Take care. For those of you who don't know, Kvatch is the resident nihilist critic. He keeps me on my toes. He's great. He also watches me way too damn much. I have no idea what I've done to earn Kvatch's relative loyalty. He says that it just keeps me open in a tab, but I don't know, for whatever reason, again, thank you. Anyways, back to me wanting to melt through the floor. Whenever she'll say something, my dad has this a bit too, but especially my mom, she'll say a compliment, you feel like it's disingenuous in some way. Like it's not really meant, it's not necessarily an appreciation straight up given to you freely of how good you are or how amazing that was. It always feels like there's some other context to it. And again, that might just be me, but it very often feels like, oh, that's such a good job. You reflected very well on me. Or that was such a good job that you did. I'm encouraging you to continue doing it because I think that's what's best for you. Or that's such a good job and I'm going to tell you so because it's my role as a parent to do so. Like it always feels like there's some sort of a but contained in that. Haha, buts. Just need to throw that in there contractually. And I think I ingrained that in some way because now whenever I hear someone compliment me like, oh, you're cute. I see so often online when people talk about toxic masculinity or constrained masculinity or issues that male identifying people have in a culture that, much like other gender roles, tries to take men and shove them into a nice little box. How they get to be used to a life in which no one's ever going to compliment their physical appearance. That also to a degree had ingrained along with this, because when my current girlfriend would tell me that I looked cute, I would get the exact same reaction. I would feel like, wait, is she saying I'm cute because she wants something from me? Or, she's saying I'm cute because she thinks she should? Or she's saying that I'm cute because she read somewhere that, when you tell a man that they're cute, they'll, improve something, like some other contained why in there, and for the record, that's irrational as hell. It's anxiety. I know that. I'm much better at it now than I was, 4 years ago. And she's never really meant it that way either. And I trust her when she says that. But much like people complimenting me on my performance because of horrible anxiety, when she or anyone else would say, "Oh, you're cute. You have nice eyes." It's kind of like, like it's like someone just threatened me with a fucking gun. Hey, asshole, you're cute. Like it's almost that level of just like, no. Like I want to shrink back. Hey, Dagon, thank you, by the way, for the attention on Twitter. I've been hoping to catch you on the stream. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you appreciate us. Thank you. A ton. But yeah, that's part of my anxiety. So when I don't think you're here now, Super Bakun, but when Super Bakun said that he mainly suffers from anxiety when he mentioned that he found us by looking on the mental health category, and he was asking like, oh, so you do mental health stuff? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh god, anxiety. I think a lot of people suffer from anxiety, because I think anxiety, the real pernicious thing about anxiety is that it has a lot of different ways of disguising itself. And I'm gonna carry this fucking shit around. You watch me, we're gonna loop this around. Because we can tie this to his content identity. We can do that. Just you watch. I'm gonna go ahead and do that mental gymnastics. I'm gonna twist my body like a fucking ballerina here. Or at least my brain. I'm gonna go like, just twist my brain into knots. So, I was saying at the onset of this, kind of as a lead-in, I've been spending a lot of time on the Twitch subreddit, partially because I was going there to go ahead and look at what the current, essentially, zeitgeist, or the culture of Twitch Online was. And a lot of folks, hey Super Bacon, we're wrapping mental anxiety back into his content identity because I am a fucking boss. And you were fucking boss people for giving me all these lead-ins. But I was going on the subreddit for Twitch a lot to see, like, what are other people doing? What are other people talking about? What's happening on Twitch? There was some commentary on there in terms of, you know, the whole hot tub thing. People wishing the music category had more stuff. I thank you for stopping by, at least, Danka. And I know you're in a very different time zone, but I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. And you fucking take good care of yourself, man. Yeah, 1:40 a.m. Go to fucking bed. Be good to yourself. But one thing, and we talked about a lot about that yesterday. The TLDR of that, if you don't want to go back. Thank you, Super Bacon. I'd like to see you in the future too, man. Especially because we do. If you have issues with anxiety, I'm not a certified therapist, but I have studied a fucking lot of it. Maybe I could help point you in the right direction for a few things. If people can get any sort of benefit by spending time with us here and talking about, you know, culturally sensitive topics, which I don't really give much of a shit about, in terms of, ooh, we're not going to touch it then, in terms of, it's sensitive, yeah, then, cool. That's kind of what we're here for. But anyways, the TLDR, by the way, what we covered yesterday is essentially, it's awesome if people think they're sexy, they should be into it. Maybe it should be. Oh, in terms of, like, culturally sensitive things, or... I'm not sure what you mean there. If you think I'm being an asshole, please let me know, because I always like people checking me in my assholishness. But the TLDR of what we talked about yesterday about that, because I know that's a hot take thing right now, is that if people think they're sexy and want to show that off, fucking more power to them. Oh, nah, you should be a psychologist. No, honestly, in a different life, I should have gone into clinical psychology. I think I would have been really good at it, you know? I have actually told myself, you know, if there is ever a time and place where I have more time and lots and lots more money, then I would totally go back to college for that. I would. Like, I should have not gone, frankly. I should have not gone to college for an English major. I should have gone to college for pre-psych. That would have been great. That would have been, honestly, that would have been a better match for me, really. But I'll get to that in a sec, Super Bacon. But the TLDR, essentially what we talked about, the whole hot tub thing on Twitch, was that if people think they're hot and want that to be part of their identity and their content, then more fucking power to them. Because hot, sexy people should deserve to show how hot and sexy they are. That's fucking fine. I think the point where you have to cry foul and stop is when people outside of that idea get the messaging that to get viewers, much like people doing all of their stuff in just chatting just to get viewers, or like botting viewers, to get viewers as a female identifying person with cleavage, I need to do hot tub stuff, which starts to get into some potentially really skeevy territory that I think most everyone can agree should be steered clear from. But perhaps getting into that in more depth is a topic for another day. Where does my name come from? It's actually really straightforward. Gigmaster. Oh god, Gigmaster was a name all the way back from when I was in a clan for, of all things, Command & Conquer Renegade, which was a multiplayer first-person shooter focused game from the Command & Conquer series. And it just sort of stuck afterwards, especially because at that point I was still doing a lot of musical education, and I was still doing a lot of talking. Hey, hi. That's okay. That is really weird talking. You were like a ninja. Maybe I need to change that. But for some reason, it decided to make your name black in the chat interface right there, and I cannot see your name at all in there. So I was like, Super Bacon says hello. I guess hi again, man. It's nice to see you again. Oh, fuck me. Right, I was talking about my name. But it just kind of stuck, especially because I was doing a lot of professional level music stuff. I was spending a lot of time at Cleveland Institute of Music, spending a lot of time in Cleveland Orchestra Youth Orchestra. I was doing, the sorts of gigs that someone in like early college or high school could do and still get paid, like weddings and stuff. So I was doing gigs. I was kind of good at them because I had a lot of natural talent I was sort of coasting on. So fuck it, I was the gig master. It just kind of worked. Thank you for the follow, Talkin. Thank you a lot. I hope to see you in the future. You take good care of yourself, all right? Or else I'll find you. And then I'll destroy you. And then OAO, I couldn't fit one and only, which is why up there in a lot of my scenes I have one and only gig master. It's actually really funny. At the end of all of our streams now, I try to find people in underrepresented categories, primarily music, and then host them right after I'm done streaming to sort of kick them some viewers, because I try to be, a nice guy who isn't an asshole with relative success. And they'll look at my name, they'll be like, OEU gig, very nice to see you. And they just kind of look back at the camera like, who is this fucker? Who calls himself OEU gig master? But fuck it, it sticks. And it makes people ask where my name came from, which makes me feel all good and fuzzy and stuff, because people give a damn. It's all about me. When we were talking about the subreddit on Twitch, I'd noted, the hot tub stuff from before. But the one thing that hadn't changed from when I stopped streaming at the end of 2018 and then went on is every other OP is about how do I get more viewers? How do I get more people to watch me? How do I need to change my content? Here's a link to my channel, which the mods promptly banhammer because you're not supposed to do that, but they'll be asking, like, maybe I can PM you a link to my channel and you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Am I doing something wrong? I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Is my video quality bad? Is my mic quality bad? They're all over the place. And they're all kind of... To really understand them, I think you have to read in between the lines. Right? Because think about it. People ask about, what kind of content would people be looking for? Ask your viewers. Or Google it online. Do you need to figure out how to make your mic better? Ask a friend or Google it online. I mean, a couple of you in chat have asked me beforehand about audio stuff, actually. And I'll tell you right now, I just Googled this shit. Oh, why isn't the piano helping your mood? Do you want something else? I could change it to something else. Is the piano, putting you to sleep? I mean, I could just canoodle different kinds of piano in the meantime. I could change it to something else. But you read between the lines, it's not really... I'll find you something a bit more upbeat then. Here. I don't mind changing music. Let's try that. Nah, that's still a little bit downbeat. Okay, I kind of like the brush top hat feel of that. I can go ahead and change it again, though, in the future. What I kind of want to do, actually, is record more of my own stuff and just have that be the overlay music. Don't worry, we'll go ahead and be playing some happy music later on. But you read between the lines in a lot of that, because all the stuff people ask about there on the subreddit for Twitch is stuff you can Google. You can find it online. Like I was telling, especially you, BitDragon, like, because I know you've asked me a lot about audio stuff and video stuff beforehand. Like, I have the advantage of just more time having studied this sort of stuff, but I've just Googled it all. Even like overclocking, because if you look down in what our setup is for our hardware, we do a lot of overclocking for our computer because we run a single PC setup, but we are able to do 1080p 60 FPS. That's mainly because I'm a giant nerd, and I am a giant computer nerd. I'm a giant fucking computer nerd, and I've overclocked my setup. Internets, TLDR. Yeah, do the internets. But that's the thing. You read in between the lines, I don't think what they're actually asking about. That might be partially you hating on your voice. Yeah, you get that a lot, especially when you start listening to yourself for the first time. You just kind of like, fuck that, dude. Especially, hey, it's like anxiety is a thing. I do think that's a function of anxiety, by the way. But sort of read in between the lines, I think what a lot of people are asking about is not, the little details, but like, please validate me. Right? Tell me that this is not pointless. Tell me that I'm not completely fucking dumb. Please tell me that I'm doing the right thing. Tell me that I matter. Please, because nobody is watching me. No one's coming to spend time with me. And I'm trying to put my identity out there. My content. We're going to tie it back, fuckers. We're going to put my identity out there. And no one seems to give a crap. So I don't feel like I matter. Please tell me there's some sort of detail I can change here that will make it more obvious that I matter. Because you look at the words they use. They all use words like don't believe, trust, don't feel involved, don't feel like I can reach people. Like, they talk about technical things, but all the words that they talk about sound like they're talking about personal struggles. And I think, that relates to anxiety a lot. Like what we talked about yesterday, I think a lot of people aren't willing to vary up or change their content because they don't want to put their identity out there. Yeah, you just gotta persevere with Twitch. But part of the way you persevere is that I think a lot of people get caught up on the technical aspects of things. Like, if you have a perfect looking stream, you can have a good stream. But a lot of people, more so, especially once they get their feet wet and know what they're doing, really start to grow once they vary up their content to better reflect themselves, to reflect who they want to be, to reflect who they want to be on Twitch when you're more honest with yourself. But there's a trade-off there, right? Because you put yourself out there. You really put your heart and soul, or your identity, out there in your content. Then you run the risk of people saying you don't matter. Because if people don't watch what you put out there, then you don't matter. People talk about, like, the content treadmill you have to run in order to get anywhere. Or even make it more applicable to everyday life when you talk about doing job applications and constantly making job applications, putting job applications out there. Then every single time you do it into the void and nobody responds to you, that's a refutation of you. That is, especially if they don't say anything afterwards, that is saying you out there who are trying to apply for this job that I talked to you about for 20 minutes, you don't matter. Right? But when you do it on Twitch, it's the entire internet telling you don't matter. You don't matter. Which sucks if you're stuck looking at it that way. And anxiety kind of makes you look at stuff that way. So I think that a lot of people who have issues with, asking, well, I don't feel like I have enough viewers, it's because we tend to want to shy away from putting ourselves out there. Because the moment you put yourselves out there, whether that's a job application or really putting your identity down into Twitch, whether that is your identity as a man or a woman or a game streamer or a music developer or some sort of alternate gender expression or a furry or a different race or God knows what, you run the risk of people saying no, no, no to you. But that gets back to the point. The topic for this is content, especially good content, online, all about your personal identity. Can it come from other places? Like, you look at streamers online. You look at even like you look at VR or virtual avatar streamers, and you could say like, well, that avatar is not them. It's not like they're going onto a camera and showing themselves. That's true, but like a haircut is, or gender expression is, or clothes are, I would argue, that's a part of their personal identity they're putting out there. But you could say it's possibly different for some channels where they're obviously playing. Thank you, VTubers. BitDragon himself is a VTuber, by the way. He's a absolutely lovely individual. He streams. You should go ahead and check him out and follow him. He is a adorable giant squish, and you are BitDragon. I am sorry. Actually, I'm not that sorry. You are. You should check him out. But you could say it's different for channels or content where they're obviously playing up some sort of a role, right? Say, and I use him very often as a example, to be fair, because he's the main one that comes to the top of my head. But the Dr. Disrespects of Twitch, they're obviously playing a role. They're wearing a costume. They're wearing they're doing an act. The way we described it when I initially came back and we were actually chatting about stuff like this was they're a performative content creator. When they're doing their stream, they're performing a role. They're acting. And the question is that still identity equals content? Is the people who do an acting thing on Twitch, that do a performative thing, do they do that because that is perhaps some sort of a buffer between their identity being put out there, making them vulnerable, and everybody else just saying no and slapping them down? Or is it something about the creative process where when expressing yourself creatively, you're not actually expressing yourself, you're expressing something more cerebral, possibly? Like, almost like you'd be talking about someone as like a method actor, almost. Like they're not acting out a personality necessarily, more like they're acting out an archetype. Is that still personal identity? Part of the reason I'm bringing this up today as a conversation topic is I frankly don't immediately know, because I myself don't immediately think that way. But at least from my own experience, what I know, especially because even just after coming back from 2018, the more we vary up our content here on my channel, the more I change it and tweak it to try to be closer to how I want to identify myself, to be closer to myself as a person on Twitch, the better I feel about it. I'm not immediately sure why either. It's not necessarily more successful either. Back in like the late 2018, I would have like 20-ish viewers watching me play Dwarf Fortress. And not saying I was being like, false person back then and not putting myself out there in terms of my personal identity. But the core of my identity of who I am as a person is not someone who plays Dwarf Fortress for 20 hours a week. As much as I like the game, that's not like core to my identity. That's not like, if any of you have seen the movie Inside Out, that's not like that's one of my marbles in my identity landscape that's turned into like this like awful 8-bit like dungeon of mayhem and blood. That's not like a core part of who I am. It's the only thing I really did on Twitch, though. But I feel better not just doing that. I hear, as a side tangent, by the way, BitDragon saying VTuber is a much more complicated model. You're more of a PNG tuber. That's fair. I think, though, you might be talking more about like the technical details there. I'd say sort of the paradigm of why you're doing it, or the let's just say the paradigm of doing it. I'm not going to make assumptions about the why, but I'd say it's very similar in that you have some sort of a avatar who represents yourself instead of a face cam as sort of like a method of bridging the gap between your expression and your appearance and the people watching you. It's the same paradigm as people who do, if you want to call it VTubering, as some sort of like more complicated thing. But if you say, okay, that agreed, that said though, if you want someone who you would probably call more of a VTuber, go watch Lady Rosen Orived. It's I'll just spell it out in chat right now. It's down in the tracker right now. Also partially mentioning her. I have no idea how you pronounce her whole name there, but I'm also partially mentioning her because they are also another adorable squish on Twitch. They are lovely to watch, and they're probably more so Lady Rose Noir VT. Gotcha, thank you, BitDragon. I just at least in my tracker, because it's all capitalized, looks like gobbledygook to me. Go give her a follow. She's amazing and adorable, and she has really fun artwork and a fun community. Oh god, I won't get into. Oh god. She also has really entertaining Twitter prompts for her viewers. Anyways. My brain fried for a second there. I obviously need more coffee, guys. 1 second. Behold, coffee ASMR. Ah, yes. This is why people come to Twitch streamers. Oh, coffee slurping sounds. Yes. Okay, brain recharged. But at least from my own personal experience, I know as we were talking about, the more I refine my content to reflect who I want to be, and thus who I am going to be on Twitch, the better I feel about it. And I talk to other people, or see other people talk about their own experiences on streaming, the more closely they align what they do on Twitch with who they are as a person, the better off they feel. I mean, apart from, people genuinely just being good people, why do you think the idea of charity drives on a platform like Twitch and a platform like Twitch are a really great marriage? I would argue it's because promoting a charity and supporting it is a way that you can go ahead and put your identity out there, that you can show people who you are, because you need some sort of a vehicle, some sort of a method to show people what kind of a person you are, right? If you're going to go ahead and support cancer research, that shows somebody something about you. If you support like St. Jude's, that shows people something about you, right? If you support the ACLU, that shows people something about you. And Twitch, I would say, is a platform that depends on and monetizes people sharing their identity out there. At least, again, from my experience. I know there's successful channels out there, like the Dr. Disrespects, where it is entirely an act, but I just have a hard time putting myself in their shoes mentally. And I talk to a lot of people who not just apart from like charity, but will like try to get away from, example, doing single subject streams, like who will do a single game for their entire lives, who I suppose more so the word that could have been used like a year or two ago, and I think still is used today, is a variety streamer who streams a variety of topics or games, who tries to get away from being locked to just one thing. Like, very often, people will do that, and their viewer count will drop because, I mean, it makes sense to the viewers if they mainly want to see a certain kind of content, and then they'll just go ahead and fall off. But the content creator will be much happier most cases I've seen. They will be, okay, I don't want to be just the dude who plays Fortnite in funny ways. I want to be more than that. I want to be myself. I want to put my stamp out there in the digital world. You take this all the way up, I think you can see some interesting examples of that in, say, it's going to be a bit of a stretch, in, say, Corpse Husband. So Corpse Husband is a streamer, but more accurately, actually, he's a music producer and more so a music creative. He's been in the indie music stream for a long time before he ever got popular online. But Corpse Husband, who is an absolute darling of a man, very often worries that people are going to treat him like some sort of a flash in the pan. Like, if I'm not streaming for a couple of months while I'm working on my music, people are just going to fall off and not pay attention to me anymore. I'm just going to be this random passing sensation people aren't going to care about. I would say that's partially because of what we're talking about right now. Anxiety, in part because obviously that sounds like anxiety. Oh no, if I'm not constantly, making more content, running that content treadmill, everyone's going to stop caring about me. Oh god, no, the world's going to end. That's anxiety. Mainly anxiety talking. Mainly. But it's also partially about content equals identity. Because you hear him talk in the Among Us streams that he did. And outside of it, he himself is not, like, his identity is not, I am a guy who streams Among Us and who makes dank vent plays. Like, he enjoys doing that, but that's not who he is. He doesn't wake up in the morning and go, man, I wonder what new facet of myself as an Among Us streamer I'm going to discover today. He doesn't do that. A lot of people don't do that. But he feels this need to stream Among Us. At least he used to. He didn't stream for a long time. A month, long time internet-wise. Until he did a Resident Evil 8 sponsored stream by Capcom, which was apparently adorable. I'm trying to save spoilers for myself because I actually want to play Resident Evil 8 on my own. But the worry was that because he wasn't streaming Among Us, that people would just forget about him, right? That people came to him not because his content equaled his identity, but his content was as some very low-voiced Among Us streamer. That was the worry. Thankfully, he did a stream for Resident Evil 8 and confirmed that was kind of complete bupkis because a lot of people came back to go ahead and watch him because the point was, and you look at really good channels on Twitch, I would argue, and the point is, a lot of people anyways, didn't go to Corpse because he was a Among Us streamer, because he was streaming Among Us. They enjoyed watching him because of who he was, and how he acted, and how he spoke, and how he related to them, and how he related to the world with them while playing Among Us. Or in other words, his content, the thing they actually came there to watch, so my argument would go, the content was his identity. The content in Twitch, I'd argue, is not the games we play. It's not the things we do. It's not the art. The art's there. But if we're going to call content, if we talk about improving our content as the thing that helps people enjoy watching us, they're broadly named the content creators. The art, the games, the VR logs, the music, all of that is just kind of the substrate that it's all planted in. It's just kind of a shared medium. It's like air facilitating talking. I can't talk to you unless there's air between us that I can vibrate with my vocal cords, and because of that, I have the pleasure of making your acquaintance. The content is the identity that's communicated through that thing. That's communicated through the gameplay. That's communicated through the artwork you're doing. And so on and so on and so on. At least that's how the thinking goes in my head, in terms of trying to think about how to make better content. At least that's what seems to make sense. To be fair, I am a channel with a whole whopping sub 400 followers. I took like a 2.5-year break, and I am also probably not nearly as smart as I sound, and probably not nearly as smart sounding as I think I do, or am. See, I can't even get good grammar, so I might be entirely wrong. But at least to my mind, it makes a lot of sense. Especially in what makes me feel good on Twitch. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'm curious what you think about this, especially those of you out there who are yourselves content creators or who have ever in your lives made something, a piece of art, a stage production, music, for broader consumption. Put part of yourself out there and seen how that was received and how you wanted it to be received. I'm curious what you guys think. I have also determined that I really need to have more water with me for these sessions. So, as a reminder, all of these initial talking bits for the streams are going to get posted. I think I'm going to just start posting all of them on YouTube, because that'll also help us with, cross-platform shenanigans. And hopefully there are people out there who would have an interesting time listening to us. And maybe even get something good out of it. That would be amazing.